What is up? Welcome to Fantasy Happy Hour. Happy Thursday, y'all. We got our jerseys on today. We are ready. We came prepared for this jersey off. Ray, give us a little insight on that dope jersey you got on.
Yeah, we did not plan this out, but I had to rock with one of my favorite basketball players ever, Dwayne Wade, the college Marquette D Wade jersey, the number 3. So I had to rep for D Wade while the weather was still warm enough to actually get away with this. By December, I can't be rocking basketball jerseys. So yeah.
I feel it. I went with the LeBron James. I got the Irish, but I took it a step further. And I had to get my J's going out here. I had to do it to him. I had to.
I like you, Brooke. I like you a lot, Brooke. You did the whole thing, girl.
I had to go all out. Hey, it's week 4. We're in it. Elliot, yeah. What are you rocking over there?
Honestly, I feel like you guys are like best friends, and I'm just like hanging out in the back trying to follow along the conversation, man. Like it's I try to stay in theme. I got a 1993 Russell jersey, which is the only year they made jerseys. And that was the inaugural Jaguar season, but they didn't actually kick off till 1993. So it's a custom Russell Jaguars jersey. I thought I was going to bring the heat. I thought I was going to be the runaway favorite. Instead, I got ran over. So it's another fun Thursday where you guys collab and clearly talked before the show and set up. So I had no shot.
That didn't even happen.
Brooke, I'm about to retweet the show, but I'm gonna retweet the FTN link with the picture of LeBron and Wade throwing up the alley-oop. And I'm gonna be like Brooke Cromer and Ray G, just alley-ooping that shit to Brooke. There we go.
Here we are. Well, clearly we are ready. We are ready for this fantasy happy hour. Happy Thursday, y'all. We have a game tonight. I don't know if it's gonna be a good game or a bad game, but we got a game. Jaguars, Bengals. And hey, while we're on this topic, this NBA jersey topic, FTN NBA early bird package, go get it. Why wouldn't you? We all want to be in on the discounted prices, and they're about to go away. So get it while you can. I guess we went with the theme too. It was a different theme, but we went with the theme. All right, we'll go on to this game now. Who do you guys have winning versus Jaguars versus Bengals? Elliot, who are you going with this game?
Yeah, I'm ready for next Thursday night's game between the Rams and the Seahawks, if I'm going to be completely honest, because this game is a 2-pack of ass, right? Like what they're going to try to sell it as is the battle of the number 1 picks, right? Like that's what you're going to try to get excited for. There's a couple young players on both sides that are legit. The Bengals are 2-1. They did just go to Pittsburgh and beat the ghost of Ben Roethlisberger. Their defense is much better this year after getting kind of ran through last year. They're not giving up big plays. One of the best players on the Bengals won't be playing in Jesse Bates. Most people don't really know about him, but he's like a star safety back there. They do get back Trey Waynes, who missed all of this season and most of last season, which is a big deal. All that to say, the Jaguars stink. They're not going to win this game. They have not covered by average of 9.5 points, and that's with 2 special teams touchdowns in back-to-back weeks. So I lean the Bengals -7.5. Laying that number of points with a Cincinnati team seems insane, especially with Joe Burrow kind of rocky. But the Jaguars get gashed on the ground. They get run all over, and that's what the Bengals are going to do. I don't think it's going to be a particularly exciting game, but I do think the Bengals win by about 7 to 10 points.
Ray, you agreeing with him?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be all right. I think there's still some intrigue. The good thing is there are actually players on the Jacksonville side that we at least like or root for or we're hopeful for. James Robinson, Laviska Shenault, DJ Chark, Trevor Lawrence. They still have some players that we kind of like. So I think I'm hopeful that it's at least entertaining for a little bit. But I'm with Elliot. Cincinnati's been playing great defense. And right now, the connection of Joe Burrow, we talk about Jamar Chase a lot, but Joe Burrow and Tyler Boyd, they're doing their thing. Joe Mixon is looking really solid on the ground. And for all the shit that the Bengals took with their draft selection of Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell, the offensive line is holding up decent, right? They're not doing as bad a job as I think most of us anticipated them to be this year. And the defense has played a hell of a lot better. When you've got a linebacker that had 14 tackles and 2 interceptions last week, albeit versus the corpse of Ben Roethlisberger, that's still really impressive. So Trey Hendrickson has really changed that defensive line. I'm excited about Cincinnati tonight, and I think they could put a hurting on Jacksonville later in the game.
Yeah, I think we all have Bengals here. I think it's pretty obvious who we're going with. Now we got the total over under 46. What are y'all thinking? Elliot, what do you have?
It's interesting because the total's gone up throughout the course of the day, but a lot of player prop lines have gone down. So typically not really correlated that guys are going to have less yards and points are going to go up. I actually lean the under here because of how slow the Bengals are. Most people are talking about how fast the Jaguars are. Bengals are the second slowest team in football. Run the ball at the 4th highest rate. They're clearly trying to ease Joe Burrow back in a little bit. I think they're going to grind the clock out. Ray just talked about that improved defense. Trey Hendrickson, wouldn't have expected him to be such a large upgrade over Carl Lawson, but he was that. And I lean the under. I don't think it's going to be a particularly exciting game. I would say Bengals 24-14, something like that, 24-17. So I think it goes under. But to Ray's point, there are actual players in this game. Last year, we had to watch Gardner Minshew and like Jake Luton. So at least there's some players that will be good eventually in this one.
Yeah, the most exciting thing back then was his hair. That was all we got was Gardner Minshew's hair. Right? Over under total.
Under. I'm not even gonna. Elliot hit it under.
I had over.
Well, tell us why. Tell us why. Why you got the over?
Every game by double digits. Their defense stinks, so I could see Bengals scoring on them a lot. That's basically my reasoning. I think the Bengals will give up a few points too. I don't think that they're gonna completely stop the Jaguars. So I got over. I got just about 46 though. I'm not going for much over, but just about that. Let's head over to Trevor Lawrence. So I
was going to say that's very fair. Like it's a solid line. There's your point of, the great thing too is Joe Mixon is an explosive back, so he can hit big runs at the end of the game too and get you over the total.
Yeah. Speaking of hair flow, we got Trevor Lawrence playing tonight, and pass completions over under 22.5. What do you guys even think about this Trevor Lawrence guy in the first place? Ray, I see your wheels are going.
I especially, and I don't know if Elliot, if you saw that Carlos Hyde is inactive. I don't know if you saw he's inactive, which I think Jacksonville did a lot of good things last week versus Arizona. I know they took the L, that flea flicker that ended up getting pick six. I mean, just absolutely gutted them. But what they did figure out is James Robinson is probably one of their best offensive weapons, and probably you should utilize James Robinson, run the damn ball. So I expect Jacksonville, especially with Carlos Hyde being inactive, to really lean on James Robinson on a short week, not expose T-Law to too much. So for me, I'm probably taking the under on the completions for Trevor Lawrence in this one.
Elliot, where are you at this?
To Ray's point, the Jaguars, I mean, their coaching staff remembered last week that they should probably start coaching, basically is what happened. I mean, Bevel even came out before the game and said, we need to start getting Trevor Lawrence some easy completions, some like easy reads. Let's have him use his legs more. We saw him run 6 times last week compared to 3 times earlier in the season. So I think Trevor Lawrence is actually going to be dangerous on the ground in this game.
I'm with you.
The Bengals got gutted by both, not only Justin Fields, but Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton ran for some against them. Like, their numbers against running quarterbacks are better because they played Ben Roethlisberger and Kirk Cousins. But I'm confident the 3 of us could catch Ben Roethlisberger. I think Ray could definitely catch Kirk Cousins. And Brooke, honestly, in your Jays, you probably could catch Kirk Cousins too. Kirk Cousins.
Oh, I got him.
Me. But I lean under too. He hasn't been completing a ton of high percentage passes. I think this is going to be a slower game. I think they will lean on James Robinson more. I'm glad that it took him 3 weeks to realize that he's better than Carlos Hyde. But hey, they're here now, and it's all that matters for this particular game in terms of the analysis. So I would lean under here. I think his total pass attempts is around 36, 37, depending on the book. He's not been completing a high percentage of his passes. So yeah, I lean under on 22.5.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with y'all under on that one. Let's head over to Joe Burrow. I'm a big Joe Burrow fan. I don't know about y'all, but he's got over under 249 and a half passing yards. Where are you guys sitting with this, Ray?
I took the under. I mean, I bet this on Prize Picks. I took the under. They're not asking Burrow to do a ton through the air right now, and whether that's to be a byproduct of the ACL or knee injury, the entire knee, or just the fact that we're seeing this philosophy change. I think a lot of people just assumed that they were going to be this high flying, greatest show on turf offense like the Rams back in the day because they had Chase and Higgins and Boyd. They're actually running Joe Mixon a hell of a lot more than people expected because a lot of people weren't feeling Joe Mixon coming into the season, but he's carrying the ball, I think, on average about 20 times per game. You're seeing Burrow throw more higher completable passes. It's not even a fucking word, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like high completion throws. They're trying to do that. He's going to take his couple of deep shots to Jamar Chase. But for me, I've got the under on Joe Burrow, 249 tonight. I just don't think they're going to need him to do that. And it seems like Zach Taylor's really trying to limit those mistakes that he tends to make sometimes.
Elliot, where are you with this one?
All I've heard through two, we've two unfucking completable passes. I love that word, right? I'm going to start using that when I write, and Daniel Kelly's going to edit that one. But all I hear is that Ray thinks that Davis Mills is better than both Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow. I've been sitting on that for 2 weeks now, or a week now. But I do think that I think Ray nailed it on the head. Like, this is a team that they're only throwing 52% of the time. There is no T. Higgins in this game. What he's going to need to do is he's going to need to hit multiple big plays, I think, to go over this number. And Chase has the capability of doing that. But I'm talking about like multiple 40-plus yard plays because I just don't think he's going to throw a ton, and they're going to lean on their defense in the run game. That's what they did exactly that last week. So I'm with Ray under 250.
Dang. All right, I had the over, but I guess this is why we do this show, because y'all have convinced me to switch to the under. So after this show, I'm gonna be going and switching them. But
all I do is try to bet what Elliot bets. Whatever he bets outside of Trayvon Diggs for Defensive Player of the Year, I'm betting everything.
You don't like that one? 65-1?
I use your rationale. That's not there's been two defensive backs since 94 to win, two corners since 94 to win that award. Two.
Yeah, one of them was Stephon Gilmore, right? The other one should have been Darrelle Revis, but I'm pretty sure Charles Woodson won that.
It was Charles Woodson, and it was 2009. Charles Woodson won it, and I don't even know. He played like a joker role that season, but true corner since the last 27 years, you've only got two corners to win that award.
You need the touchdowns on the defensive. You need the defensive touchdowns and the interceptions. And since
but I did say you can't beat 65-1. I mean, hell,
if it was 20-1, I would never have ever done that. And by the way, Brooke, being the opposite side of you for your Prize Pick stuff does not make me feel good, considering the fact I'm not sure you've ever lost. You're crushing those.
Brooke is undefeated.
Undefeated in the Prize Pick. Yep. Undefeated in the Prize Picks.
I'm defeated. I had to put my credit card number in before the game and re-up, load up. Let's do it again.
Hey, I got some good ones tonight, so I'm excited. All right, we're headed to the Jacksonville side of the ball. James Robinson over under 23.5 receiving yards. Ray, you liking Robinson?
I did not take this bet. I did not take this line, but now that I know Carlos Hyde is out, I like it a little bit more. I'd be more interested in his reception totals opposed to the yards. But I can't say that I like it and didn't have the courage and my conviction to do anything with it at all. So I defer to Elliot on this one. I like his rushing yard line, which I did take the over on, and I do like his receptions. The yards, not really sure how I feel about that. Elliot?
Yeah, I mean, to Ray's point on the receptions versus receiving yards, that can be one of the most tilting things in the world. I remember last year I had David Montgomery over 28 receiving yards, and he caught 11 passes and finished with 26 receiving yards, and I was losing my mind. So, he caught a pass and lost like 8 yards, and I was like, oh no. We're going to get workhorse James Robinson tonight. So I'm with Ray on the receptions because I don't know how efficient they're going to be. It looks like on Caesars right now, you can still get them at over 12.5 carries. So the second I stop talking, I'm running to Caesars right now, and I'm going to bet that.
Hey, I had the over on this one. He averages 30 yards a game, but receiving yards a game, but he had a couple big games, so we'll see. We'll see on this one. Headed to Cincinnati side of the ball, Joe Mixon, an OU grad. Over under 88.5 rush yards. What are you at, Ray?
I got the over. I'm taking Joe Mixon. This Jacksonville defense is not very good. Joe Mixon, lock him in for at least minimum 18 carries tonight. And I think with his talent, his skill set versus this defense, Joe Mixon gets it done. I'm taking the over. I took the over on this one.
Oof. All right, Elliot. Over under.
I really wish Ray said 19 because I got him at over 18.5 carries right now. So I wish Ray guaranteed 19. It climbed all the way up to 20.5. The Jaguars have. Yeah, I know. That way, I would like minimum to be 19. The Jaguars have the third most rush attempts against them in football. They also have the most rush attempts inside the 5 against them in football with 11, giving up 5 rushing touchdowns. So Joe Mixon over yards, Joe Mixon over carries, Joe Mixon scores a touchdown. I think there's a chance Joe Mixon has like 25 carries for 150 yards and two touchdowns tonight.
Dang, a hot take. I'm a Mixon fan. I'm with you guys. I'm
with you though. I think he could blow up. I really think this could be a Joe Mixon blow up game, and he just goes nuts. I really believe that's within his range of outcomes tonight. I'm with Elliot on that one. Brooke, you took the under, didn't you?
I did in the beginning. I switched it. To the over. I think they could run the ball. It's Jacksonville defense as well. So I was mad at Joe Mixon in the beginning because I had him in a couple of my DFS lineups early on in the season, and he did diddly squat for me. And so I had this little hatred sitting in my heart. So then I put the under, and then I came to my senses and switched it to over. So we're here
Welcome
for
to being a DFS player, man. That is how it works.
It makes me so mad. I keep getting these little anger spits for these guys, and I'm like, wait, I like this person. I don't hate this man.
So question real quick, and I just want to know, does this influence or impact how you feel about the Jacksonville passing attack with one of the best safeties in the game out? Does Jesse Bates being out, does that concern you a little bit at all?
For what?
For Jacksonville actually throwing more with Jesse Bates.
And we're going to talk about Marvin Jones. I think it really helps Marvin Jones' ability to hit the big play. Him and DJ Shark are the two guys. I think I don't necessarily think Lawrence is going to be uber efficient, but I actually think that it gives Jacksonville an opportunity to hit more plays down the field, which is what Lawrence has been trying to do anyway. Because literally, Bates is probably a top 5 safety in football.
Yeah, yes, legit.
But people just don't know who he is because he plays in Cincinnati.
He's top 5.
To play in Ohio. So on to Marvin Jones, as you just mentioned. He's over under 65.5 receiving yards. I think this one's tough. Where are you guys sitting with this one? Ray, where are you on this one?
I think it's tough too. I mean, we just talked about Jesse Bates being out. I want to take the over. I think you kind of have. Who else is going to catch a damn ball? I mean, Laviska Shenault, for all the hype and Twitter allure that people bestow upon him, he's a big gadget guy, man. He's a big gadget dude. DJ Chark, I guess Marvin Jones is the number one. Trevor Lawrence is looking at him early and often. I think he leads that team in targets. T-Law's going to throw for 100 and something, 200 yards. I mean, Marvin Jones should get his. No Jesse Bates. I agree with Elliot. I think this helps Marvin Jones hit the big play. And this is one that I did not bet, but I would feel comfortable with Marvin Jones over that 66.5. I'd feel comfortable with that. I might do that before the game, to be honest with you.
Elliot, where are you at with Marvin Jones?
He's averaging 64 yards, but if Lawrence's efficiency goes up at all, Jones is going to pop. To Ray's point, I think he's got 32 targets on the season. He's seeing 1 out of every 3 targets this team when they throw the ball. That's absurd. Another bet I really like with Marvin Jones is him to score a touchdown at plus 210. And I know Jill does that too, and that's like our touchdown guy. That man is the king of predicting touchdowns. He's seen 9 red zone targets and 3 end zone targets, 2 of which have turned into touchdowns. And he's the second best receiver in contesting catches so far this football season. So, like, Marvin Jones is a guy that every year no one wants to draft in fantasy. No one gives him his respect. No one thinks he's a great receiver. But Trevor Lawrence does. And frankly, Trevor Lawrence's opinion matters more than ours. He's going to get fed a lot in this game.
Amen. Hey, I went with the under on this one, and that was prior to all of this new knowledge, but he only received for more than 65.5 yards in one game this season. So I was betting on that, but I'm gonna believe y'all on this one. We're going to the Cincinnati side of the ball.
I don't love being on the other side of you on so many of these, Brooke. I feel like I'm about to lose a lot of money tonight.
No. You're good. You're going to win. You're fine. During like crap shoots, I'm like, I feel like I'm not as strong with my picks in these like crap shoots because it's like, what is going to happen? Like, God only knows. So we'll find out soon. Jamar Chase, over under half a touchdown. Jamar Chase.
Stay in the flames.
Come on, guys.
He's catching 1, maybe even 2. Stay in the flames. I mean, he's got 3 straight, first wide receiver in NFL history to start his career off with 3 25-yard or longer touchdowns in NFL history. It's already setting records. I'm staying in the flames. No CJ Henderson. This should be a nice game for Jamar Chase.
Elliot, where are you at with Jamar Chase?
What? Chase is tough because if you look at just like straight numbers, everything says regression, right? Because like Dre just said, 3 straight touchdowns, 3 games with 25-plus yard receptions. He's not getting a ton of target volume, but he keeps getting open down the field. I saw Mike Clay talk today on ESPN that said he has 4 touchdowns, but his analytical numbers would have predicted 0.9 touchdowns. Like, he is overperforming at an insane rate. He's also an overperformer, which is the tough part, right? Like when we talk about regressing to the mean, one of the biggest things we forget is some of these dudes aren't the mean; they are superstars. That being said, he's still performing like over a superstar level for his volume, but there's no T. Higgins, so if his volume increases, he likely scores a touchdown. All that being, I don't know. That's what I get. I get Ray's argument. I get the argument of like, let's not go nuts on Jamar
It's no
Chase,
argument, though. I just am saying stay in the flames. It's not even a sound
but Joe
reason.
Burrow has shown through his career, like, you're the man for me right now. We're gonna make this work. So like stay in the flames is an amazing, it sounds awesome, but it also makes sense. So I genuinely don't know. I'm not betting on it. I wouldn't want to bet against it.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I'm betting on this one. I got over on Jamar Chase. He better score a touchdown. This man better score a touchdown. He's going in every game so far. Like, how's that going to change? It's not. It's not changing. So that's all I got on these over-unders.
I got one interesting one. Laviska Shenault over a half a carry. Will he get 1 carry? Especially with no RB2 that we know. Like, Laviska Shenault, does he get a carry tonight?
Yes.
He's only had 1 this season, I think. 1 or 2 all season.
It was week 1 he had 1 because the whole world bet on him to have 1 carry, and then he did. And then it was no longer a popular play the next 2 weeks, and he did not get 1. But I think the no Carlos Hyde thing, because James Robinson is still only going to play, 80% of the snaps?
If that. Watch it be like, well, yes, 80%. Watch
Laviska Shenault be the backup running back tonight. Dude, and end up with like 12.
I'm throwing right now. You can get it. Just 1 carry. Does Laviska get a carry tonight?
Yes, I would bet yes.
Yeah.
What juice do you have to lay? What are the odds?
I'm in Texas, Elliot, so I'm using.
That's fair. So let's say that you were in New Jersey and call it -115. I would take the over.
I want to check real quick. I'm pulling it up real quick. Filibuster for 10 seconds, and then I will see.
I only see right now, looking at the prop shop on FTN Bets, which is a free tool, which is one of the coolest ways to find all the different lines. Of course, the James Robinson thing changed while I was trying to bet it. Now it's 15.5. I was ready to lay all kinds of money on that.
Of course.
You can bet on his rushing yards at over under 1.5, and the over is -125. But if you think he gets a carry, but then I I would much rather bet on 1 carry than over 1.5 because sometimes they do those reverses and they lose 9 yards, and you're like, well, now I need a second carry for a huge play.
I'm with you.
I got a long shot parlay that pays out at 18-1, and I think Ray's going to like it. I got the Bengals to win. I got Joe Mixon over 88 yards, and Joe Mixon scores a touchdown. All right, so the Bengals money. That's money by basically Bengals win, they dominate on the road, or they dominate through the ground. Jacksonville has to come back and throw the ball. So I got Trevor Lawrence over 250 yards, Marvin Jones over 66 yards, and Marvin Jones scores a touchdown. That pays out at 18-1. But I think that game script makes sense.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm copying that shit right now. Say it again.
Mixon touchdown, Mixon over yards, Bengals win. And then on the other side of the ball, it's, well, the Jaguars play at a fast pace. They're going to have to chuck the ball a lot. No, Jesse Bates, let's go down the field to Marvin Jones. He goes over receiving yards. He scores a touchdown. And Trevor Lawrence goes over his passing yards total.
All right. Dang. Yeah, I got that in. I got a 5-leg going right now. All right.
There we go.
That just stresses me out. I don't go that big.
I'm not even listening to the show at this point. I'm just putting these.
Ray's no longer on the show. Ray's a listener. Add the extra viewer on Periscope right now.
Okay. First touchdown score. Who's getting the first touchdown tonight?
First touchdowns are one of the most. They're so random. The one guy who is actually not random is actually Devontae Adams. He scored the first touchdown in 7-11 games last year where the Packers scored the first touchdown. He did it last week. I enjoyed myself some tequila and then ended up throwing too much money on that. And then he did it. And I was like, oh, I love you. I would say Joe Mixon. Again, Joe Mixon, but he's probably like plus 400. That's the issue.
It's plus 450. At what I'm looking at, my book. My book is plus 450.
I would go ahead.
I kind of like Marvin Jones, man. I kind of like Marvin Jones, like 14-1.
I'm not mad at those odds, 14-1, because I think if it's Jacksonville, it's going to be Jones or Robinson.
Yeah,
that's what I was going with. Robinson. Robinson's pulling at my heart right now.
9-1 for James Robinson.
14-1 for a guy that's seen 9 red zone targets, 3 end zone targets, and like the next closest guy on the team at receiver is 3 end zone targets. Chenault has 0. Like once they get in scoring range, it's Marvin Jones.
I'm putting just a marginal 1/10 of a unit on here for Marvin Jones.
There we go. Marvin Jones first touchdown.
We're looking.
Right, listen, if we do that, we're on fire with that parlay to start. So I'm all for it.
I just confirmed it. Now I'm going to go bet like 6 more of them at the to just try to fucking catch a fall. Bet with GQ, baby. We're going to have a good time. You ain't going to win any money. You won't win, but you'll have a damn good time doing it, baby.
Well, hey, if you listen to our picks, you're going to win some money tonight. So all our listeners right now, go start betting. Let's go. We're excited for this game. Let's get on to the Jaguars and the Bengals for Fantasy Happy Hour. Ray, Elliott, thank you guys so much for trying to show up with your jerseys. I don't know, though. I like this one still. Although that Marquette and then that super, super throwback is really, really pushing it. So, Elliott, I got to hear the story sometime how you even get a jersey like that. So that'll be a fun one. But for tonight, Fantasy Happy Hour, thanks for joining us. Have a good one.